But yeah, with the Trump thing, I mean, we were talking about like not putting our hope in this savior. And you made this really interesting point about Hitler and going on the gold standard. Yeah, like people, we need to call a spade a spade. The reason why Hitler rose to power is because he had certain attributes that make for a leader that people are going to be attracted to. And this is one of the things where we on, whether you want to call it the conservative side, the libertarian side, the pro-freedom side, the pendulum swings in society.
Yep, the pendulum, man.
The pendulum's huge. Things have gotten so woke and so broken that you're starting to see it. Joe Rogan's talking about Christianity on his podcast. Like the chief atheist agnostic is now talking. So there's like this moral swing with religion, with morals, with ethics and all that kind of stuff in society. We have to be careful that we don't swing back in the other direction. So a lot of people, and I actually don't touch on this a whole lot in the book, but the things that started Weimar Germany down this hyperinflationary rabbit hole were things like wokeism, which they called it expressionism back then.
Yes.
But it was gender ideologies. The first gender reassignment surgeries were the early 1900s and all that kind of stuff.
I sent you the thing because I've been writing on this,
Have
and
you?
it's fucking crazy. I was
mirror
literally
image,
looking
right?
at this, and it's a mirror image of the woke BLM kind of situation where you're categorizing the government starts funding these agencies for, basically the economy crashes. You have a bunch of people fled to Berlin. There was I think they said over 100,000 different sex clubs within Berlin, right? You have women just selling themselves. You have then the whole gender ideology comes in through, you have the weird expressionist where you have that dark, like gray kind of weird, just, because art is a reflection of the time, right? I don't think there's any huge agenda behind art. It's representing what the people are feeling at a certain moment and kind of gravitate towards too. But like you're saying, we are experiencing, the first gender surgery, and then because I was wondering where the Jewish thing came in, right? And a lot of those activists within those communities were Jewish, not all of them, right? But somewhat like the guy that performed the transition surgery was Jewish. The leading head of the socialist movement was a female Jewish lady. So it was very easy to kind of have that scapegoat and say, this is the problem right here. And we kind of see that almost happening again with the Jews right now, which is crazy, and it's, because that throughout history, Jews have had a very kind of, they've always been into the arts. They've always been very successful, right? And that's not something that we need to, demonize or scapegoat. And I don't know if it's if that's gonna happen. I think Weimar was in a much worse place than we are right now. But we have to be aware of that. And we have to be aware that there is no panacea. Bitcoin might not be the panacea that fixes everything if we still have all this other decay happening and people don't know what to believe because of deep fakes and everyone's losing their fucking minds, right?
Yeah.
So.
Dude, I would love to read some of the stuff that you're working on. But yeah, it's like, so the concern of the pendulum swing too far back was, we all learned in high school about the book burnings that the Nazis did and stuff. Well, I don't think we ever learned about like what books they were burning. Some of those books were like books that I don't like.
Communist
Manifesto. They would be books on homosexuality, Jung, and these archetypes and so like these very today's progressivist ideas were a lot of the things that they were burning. So things that I don't want in society, I also wouldn't use book burning as the method to purge those from society. I would try to use public forums, and the things we're doing now is fighting for those ideas. But there's a very radical contingent on every side of the spectrum, on each side of the spectrum. And so when people get fired up on one side, that's how you get these crazy pendulum swings. And so I don't think Trump is Hitler. I really don't. And I think that it's crazy to assume that. But to say that we wouldn't see the emergence of another person after Trump, because if politicians are smart, they're going to adopt this Trump rhetoric of strong speech, like sticking to your guns, doing what you're going to say, talking big, the art of the deal, the oversell, right? I'm going to promise something big, knowing that I'm not going to get it. But if I get 50% of that, I'm still accomplishing more of my mission. Now you're going to get people that are going to use that for like crazier things to, again, swing the pendulum in the other direction. So I think it's our responsibility as those people that are helping swing the pendulum, but making sure that, hey guys, let's not get crazy with this. Let's not get too far. And I'm not for centrist ideas. I'm not saying that we need to be centrist and we need to, have this like lukewarm version of freedom. No. But taking the ideas of individual sovereignty, individual freedom, like we said at the beginning, and like you said, there was collectivism on this side, and then the pendulum swings to collectivism on this side. We just need to ensure that it doesn't swing back to collectivism. It just needs to swing to a point of the swing where the individual is re-empowered. And I think that's the big opportunity that Bitcoin provides for us, is because it allows individuals to be empowered like no other point in history. This is a unique time in history where the individual has the ability to be empowered because we have decentralized money. And people would say, well, we had decentralized money in gold and silver before. The average person didn't have access to that. Like, that wasn't something that on a widespread scale, the poor people in society could have access to, even little bits of gold or silver. Anybody can afford a sat, right? It doesn't matter how poor you are. There's nobody on earth right now that can't afford a sat. And that's just the truth. So anybody in the world can have exposure to Bitcoin. And so it's like I said, a unique opportunity in history, but there's a tremendous burden on us as Bitcoiners or libertarian, the purveyors of libertarianism, to make sure that the pendulum swings, but it swings not to